After Hours English.
Hey everyone, welcome back to After Hours English. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jake. Great to have you with us again today.
So last time we talked about Japan's train system, and a lot of you seemed to enjoy that one. So today, we're staying in Japan but moving to a completely different topic.
That's right. Today we're talking about convenience stores in Japan. And honestly, this might be my favorite topic so far.
Same. Because if you've ever been to Japan, you already know what we're talking about. But if you haven't, I think it's genuinely hard to imagine just how different they are until you walk into one for the first time.
Exactly. So let's start there. Emma, what was your first impression when you walked into a Japanese convenience store?
Honestly, I was a little overwhelmed. Not in a bad way, more like when you walk into a really good bookstore and you don't know where to look first. There's just so much going on.
That's a great way to describe it. Because they're not big stores. They're actually quite compact, but they pack so much into that space.
Right. And everything is incredibly well organized. You can find anything within seconds because the layout makes so much sense.
Let's talk about the food, because I think that's the first thing that surprises most people. When I hear convenience store food, I don't usually think high quality.
No, and that's the thing. Back home, convenience store food is kind of a last resort. You grab it when nothing else is open, and you don't expect much.
But in Japan, it's a completely different standard.
Completely different. The first thing I tried was an onigiri, a rice ball. I just grabbed one without thinking too much about it, and it was genuinely delicious. The rice was perfectly cooked, the filling was well seasoned, and the whole thing was maybe 150 yen.
That's less than $1.50.
Exactly. And it felt like something you'd get at a decent restaurant, not a convenience store at 10 p.m.
What other food stood out to you?
The egg salad sandwiches are famous for a reason. People travel to Japan specifically wanting to try them, which sounds a little extreme until you actually eat one.
And then you completely understand.
Completely. The egg is soft, slightly sweet, on this pillowy white bread. It's simple but somehow perfect.
I've also heard a lot about the fried chicken. Every chain seems to have their own version.
Yes, and people are very loyal to their favorite. There's almost a rivalry between fans of different chains. Some swear the best is from one place, others disagree completely.
It's like a local debate that never gets resolved.
Exactly. And then there's oden, which is a Japanese hot pot dish. You can find it at most convenience stores, especially in the colder months. It's these ingredients, tofu, boiled eggs, fish cakes, sitting in a warm broth.
That sounds surprisingly sophisticated for a convenience store.
It is. And you just point to what you want, they scoop it into a container, and you're done. It's incredibly comforting food, especially if you've been walking around all day.
Speaking of walking around, are these stores open all the time?
Yes, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No matter when you need something, a convenience store will be open.
Which is not something you can say about most places.
Not at all. I remember one night I couldn't sleep and just felt like getting some fresh air, so I walked to the nearest convenience store at 2 a.m. It was perfectly lit, fully stocked, and felt completely normal. Nobody looked at me strangely.
That's kind of comforting in a way.
It really is. There's something reassuring about knowing that no matter what time it is, you can always find what you need.
Now let's talk about the services, because I think a lot of people don't realize that Japanese convenience stores go way beyond just selling things.
Right, this is where it gets really impressive. You can pay utility bills there, electricity, gas, water. You can pay for online shopping orders. You can use the ATM. You can print documents from your phone or a USB drive.
Wait, you can actually print from your phone?
Yes. There are multifunction machines inside most stores that let you print, scan, and copy. So if you need to print something and you don't have a printer, you just walk to the nearest convenience store.
That's incredibly useful. What about tickets?
Concert tickets, train passes, theme park tickets, you can handle a lot of that through the in-store machines as well. For locals, the convenience store is genuinely a one-stop solution for so many things in daily life.
It almost functions like a community service center.
That's actually a really good way to put it. Especially in rural areas, where there might not be a bank or a post office nearby, the convenience store fills a lot of those gaps.
Let's talk about the atmosphere, because I think that's part of what makes the experience feel different too.
They're always clean, not just acceptable clean, but noticeably clean. The floors are bright, the shelves are neat, nothing feels out of place.
And the staff are very efficient. Even during busy times, the line moves quickly.
There's a lot of training involved. Staff are trained to handle everything from food preparation to package handling to machine assistance.
And they always greet you when you come in. That phrase, ATMs, becomes very familiar very quickly.
It really does. It's a formal welcome, and you hear it every single time you walk through the door. After a while, it becomes a kind of comfort sound, like you know you're in the right place.
What about the coffee? I've heard surprisingly good things.
The coffee is genuinely great. There are self-serve machines where you can make a latte, an Americano, a cappuccino, freshly made, right there.
And the price?
Usually around 100 to 200 yen. Under $2. And the quality is honestly comparable to a mid-range cafe.
I would absolutely stop for coffee if I knew it was going to be that good.
A lot of people make it part of their morning routine. Grab an onigiri, get a coffee, and you've spent maybe $3 total.
Now, one thing I want to ask about, the seasonal items. This sounds like something that really sets Japanese convenience stores apart.
Yes, this is one of my favorite things. Every few months, the stores rotate part of their offerings to match the current season or an upcoming holiday. So you'll see limited edition flavors, themed packaging, special ingredients that are only available for a short window.
And people actually look forward to these releases?
Absolutely. There's a real excitement around new seasonal items. People talk about them online, compare them, recommend their favorites. It creates this sense of discovery every time you visit.
That gives customers a reason to keep coming back, even if they don't need anything specific.
Exactly. And I think that's part of why the culture around convenience stores in Japan is so strong. People don't go just out of necessity, they genuinely enjoy the experience.
There's almost a social element to it.
There is. The word for convenience store in Japanese slang is Conbini, and when someone says they're going to the Conbini, it doesn't always mean they need something urgent. Sometimes it's just a casual thing, a walk, a treat, a way to break up the day.
That's really different from how I think about convenience stores back home.
Very different. And I think it reflects something broader about how Japan designs its everyday spaces. There's a real attention to making even ordinary things feel a bit special.
All right, any tips for first-time visitors before we wrap up?
A few. First, don't walk past a convenience store without going in at least once. Give yourself time to browse. Second, try the onigiri and the egg salad sandwich, they're both worth it. And third, check the seasonal section because you never know what you'll find.
Great advice. And if you've been to Japan and have your own convenience store stories, we'd love to hear them. Drop a comment below. What was your favorite thing?
And if you haven't been yet but this episode has made you curious, that's exactly what we're going for.
That's all for today's episode of After Hours English. Thanks so much for listening.
Take care, everyone. See you next time.